What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I'm in a sleek SS North Jersey kit. Shout out Born Offsides with the Satriales, little Tony Soprano stuff. Today we got a little bit of breaking news on Carlos Vela to the San Jose Earthquakes, maybe. And I think that dovetails pretty neatly into a video I've been wanting to talk about of three teams that really need to make some big moves with the transfer window still open for another 6 weeks. So let's just get right into it. Gonna stand off to the side here now because I'm a really good editor and I know that I need over here room for graphics. Just thinking I'm smart. First team that's up, San Jose Earthquakes, because they have the big news of the day. As I've just reported, reports have been coming out of Mexico for the last 12 hours. The San Jose Earthquakes are in advanced talks to sign LAFC legend Carlos Vela. The deal's not done. It's not decided. I'm firmly expecting this to be a DP deal. I'm like 99% sure on that, but we're going to be boring and safe and just say that I'm expecting that. He's a free agent. He turns 35 today, actually. And from what I've been told, we could hear an answer in the next few hours. So hopefully I edit this real quick before any news changes and you guys are listening to this. And it makes sense rather than this old info. But anyway, we're just going to move on and keep going. Look, he's 35 years old again as of today. But he played in all 34 regular season games for LAFC last year. He had 9 goals and 7 primary assists. It was about 2,000 minutes. LAFC had one of the busiest schedule, if not the busiest schedule in MLS last year, getting to the CONCACAF Champions Cup final, getting to MLS Cup final, all of this. Like, the fact that he played 34 regular season matches, appeared in all of them at his age, and his injury worries like that were genuine, I think that helped him a whole lot going into the offseason this year in terms of his, like, I think even if he played 24 games, he would have asked for a DP deal, but it's much easier to ask for that when you play in all 34 games, when the worry here is his longevity, whether he's going to be available, and he could say, hey, I played all these games last year. So we know that San Jose have been in for an attacking midfielder, second forward. They wanted to use this DP spot in a central attacking position, whether it was more of a chance creator or more of a goal scorer. Vela kind of fits both. He definitely isn't a pressing player. We'll see exactly how that would work out with the players behind him. Again, Guerrero and Jackson Newell, I think they can cover enough ground. Christian Espinoza, Amal Pellegrino, they were pretty industrious for attacking players. Jeremy Abobzi, they could be able to, I think, to carry a less than enthused defender in Carlos Vela. I would be very interested to see how that plays out. Again, I'm a sucker. I love Carlos Vela's quality and everything. I know he's 35. This is why I would probably be a bad general manager, is that I'd find it hard to let him go. Like, look, last year in 2023, I'm going to pull up the FB ref stats right now, and I'm going to sort this against number 10s and wingers because that's what he'll play in. He was technically a number 9 for LAFC last year, but he played like a false 9. He just played a Carlos Vela role. It was a free role. It was just go wherever you want, Carlos, and don't defend. Right? Like, so I think that it makes more sense to compare him against number 10s and wingers. He's 95th percentile in shot creating actions. That's what San Jose needs to unlock this attack. Like, that's desperately what they want. 85th percentile in expected assists, 88th in expected goals. That's still elite, man. Even if he can't play 3,000 minutes, and why would you want him to? Like, if he can give you 2,500 minutes at that, this is what this team desperately needed last year. They had the foundation. They had, like, one really good attacking player, Christian Espinoza, who's buoyed a little bit by penalties, which Vela would take if he's on this team. But, like, they need another star in the attack. And a team like San Jose that don't have the biggest budget, you have to kind of take swings at this. Like, yeah, he's not perfect. If he was perfect, he wouldn't, like, San Jose wouldn't have a chance. Like, they would have, like, LAFC would have given him a new long-term contract or something before that. So, you know, we'll see how this works out. I would be optimistic. Again, if it happens, I'm going to keep on being boring. Nothing's done yet. Nothing's decided. I'm assuming that he's going to still continue to still talk to LAFC. I know that he's still talking to LAFC. As of last week, Steve Cherundolo and some players were coming out saying, we hope Carlos comes back. Aaron Long said, yeah, Carlos' stuff is still in his locker. He hasn't cleaned out his locker. We're hoping he comes back, right? So I know that he's going to keep talking to LAFC. My assumption is now that there's an actual offer on the table, I heard that they're going to have a meeting with LAFC today in a few hours. You know, we'll see. Again, whether it's formal or informal, I know that he's going to go back to LAFC before he makes a decision. They wouldn't make him a DP, and that's kind of where this comes down to. It is money now / future security / pride / whatever it is. Like, LAFC can't really make him a DP from what they're saying in their roster building. It would be really weird to not see him in LAFC kit. Again, the owners still want him back, front office, coaching staff, everybody. It's just about finding a number that works, and that's kind of why it's dragged out to where it is. San Jose come up with an offer, and now that pushed pressure on LAFC, puts pressure on Vela for a decision. A decision has to be made at some point soon. Look, Vela had the best season in MLS history in 2019. 34 goals, that's still a single-season record, and 10 primary assists. His goals plus assists is still a single-season record. It is the best season I've ever seen from a singular player in MLS history. It was phenomenal. They won 2 Supporters' Shields, 1 MLS Cup. They got to another MLS Cup. and they got to 2 CCL finals or CCC finals now. He's an absolute legend in this league, man. I don't care. It's only been 6 years. He doesn't have the longevity, but again, he was at the heart of everything that was good for this club on and off the field. They needed a star in LA. They needed the face of this club. They needed somebody like Carlos Vela, Mexican international superstar on this continent, a well-known player in Europe, all these things. Like, Carlos Vela has been so great for LAFC. It would be really weird to see him in another uniform, but that's sports, right, man? Like, Joe Montana played for Kansas City. You kind of go, Patrick Ewing played for, Seattle or whatever it was. Like, this stuff happens. Shaquille O'Neal with the Boston Celtics and all the other teams he rotated to at the end of his career. It'd be weird, but hey, man, that's sports, that's life, that's business. He's got to make a decision for his family. He's got to make a decision for himself, and these teams got to make their own decisions for themselves. So we'll see where this goes. The second club, you're probably sick of hearing me talk about the same things kind of in circles here, but the Portland Timbers, they are still in that DP number 9 search, and yes, I am still being told it's close. I understand why fans are frustrated at the whole 7 to 10 days thing, but here we are. I can only tell you what I know. Cabecita Rodriguez of Club America, that's a real option. I've reported that before. I've talked about him before. There is still another option out there. I assume, honestly, that we could hear more about one of these two targets today, this weekend, whatever, but we'll see. And I know I've said that before, so fair enough. If fans are getting impatient, imagine that the club is too, from the coaching staff through the front office, ownership, fans, everything. Everybody wants this DP number 9 to come in, but they want to get it right, and they want to make sure that the deal's done. And a couple of these deals have been pretty complicated, which has kind of helped lead them to Cabecita Rodriguez as a potential option, because it's a little bit less complicated, but these deals are never less complicated. So again, Portland desperately want a 9 now. They want somebody who can also play on the wing. Cabecita can do that. I'm wary to call him like a secondary option or like a backup option because, look, he's a star. I think this would be a really good DP signing in MLS, but it's not kind of the level of expectation that the coaching staff, front office, and ownership has teased to fans a little bit about, a really big signing, which again, like from what I know, they've been really pushing on a couple big money players, but sometimes those deals don't come off. TBD, again, we'll still see. I will say, though, that if they do sign Cabecita, this would free up more money in the budget for them to go take another swing on, say, a young DP this summer. Again, all of these things are still fluid. We'll see exactly how this all shakes out, how this all evolves. I don't know how to talk about a mystery target in any sense other than to keep saying that there's another guy. So I'm going to focus on Cabecita for right now. He's 30 years old. He's got 9 goals and 3 assists in 1,100 minutes this year. Cruz Azul bought him for like $12 million a couple years ago. This guy's an absolute star in Mexico. Al Nasser in Saudi Arabia, the club of Cristiano Ronaldo now, bought him for like $6 million. He came back to Mexico with Club America. Throughout this time, LAFC were interested in him. I thought that's where he was going to go, but that deal never got done. He's one of those players, like him and Julian Quinones, honestly, are 2 players in Liga MX that I've been shocked haven't come to MLS yet, and we'll see if Cabecita gets there now. So FB Ref here has his stats as like against wingers and 10s because he's played more of his minutes, not as a center forward for Club America this year. Whatever. So he like the expected goals numbers might be a little higher for a winger than like who's naturally a center forward. But look, 95th percentile in expected goals, 97th percentile in goals. He's lower in assists, but again, he's being judged against players who are more creative in terms of wingers and 10s. Honestly, I expect him to primarily be a number 9 with Portland. Again, his versatility is something that they really want, so that they don't have to put Felipe Mora on the bench all the time. They still believe that he can play with another forward, and again, it gives them more options on the wings. Anthony looked really good. We all know how good Santi Moreno is. Evander is obviously going to go back to his 10. They could play some semblance of 3 at the back and with 2 forwards or, 2 players underneath the center forward. So we'll see. It gives them a lot of options. Looking at this depth chart, like this is a strong team. Like I've said it all offseason, the Kamal Miller and Maxime Crépeau signings were really, really important. Like they needed those 2 defensive anchors. With Evander, he has the potential to be one of the better number 10s in this league. And then if you get him kind of a prime goal scorer like Cabecita Rodriguez, this team is going to be really, really dangerous. If they're very difficult to beat, if you think back to that 2022 Inter Miami season, Phil Neville's best season as a manager, they were really hard to beat. They had much less talent than this team does now. Like their DP was Gonzalo Higuain, who Phil had to bench at the beginning of the season because he wasn't running. He didn't really care. Rodolfo Pizarro, I believe, was on loan at Monterrey. They trade for Alejandro Pazuello, and then they have a very difficult team to beat with a strong foundation, a lot of hardworking players, and then a couple special players in attack, and that took them to the playoffs. That team had no business making the playoffs with the quality that they had. So if he can replicate that with this team, if it's Evander, Moreno, and Anthony underneath, say, Cabecita, or this mystery DP forward that we don't know who it could be, then this team could be really, really good with defensive foundation that they got this offseason with the additions of Kamal Miller and Maxime Crepeau. But again, I've been sitting here for weeks and weeks saying that, oh, they're working on a DP9, it's coming close. I understand that fans at this point are getting a little jaded that, hey, we'll see it, we'll believe it when the announcement comes or when you say the deal's done or who the player is, but they're getting closer. So again, just keep holding out that hope. Third team that needs to make a couple, if not one, big signing before the close of the transfer window, Charlotte FC. Dean Smith has said that something is close, something in the next week is going to happen. I'm told that is a DP deal, that they're going to be able to get it over the line. They've been very ambitious this offseason. We're getting to the spring now, but it's March. They've been very ambitious in their DP targets. Like they wanted Albert Groenbeek from Bodo Glimt for a deal that would have been more than $10 million. They were really working on Luciano Rodriguez, the Uruguayan wonder kid, who would have been one of the most expensive signings in league history. Not many other teams are really swinging like this. Again, that's all nice. That's all well and good. It's about actually signing players. But again, money isn't an issue for Charlotte. They're looking big. They want to make a big splash. And they know that they need this quality in the team with Kamil Jóźwiak and Karol Swiderski gone. They have 2 DP spots open. One of those DP spots would have to be a young DP if they want to fill it like that. And Groenbeek would have been that. They also have a U22 initiative slot open, I believe. My expectation is that they might use 2 of those 3 chips this window and save one for the summer, but who knows? Plans are fluid. If a deal that they really want becomes available, or if nothing that they want doesn't become available, then things change. But I think in a perfect world they'd hold one of those chips for the summer so they could have flexibility in the summer. I don't know exactly what profile is going to come right now. I felt really strongly that it was going to be a number 10. I still think that's probably the primary option or primary thought, but I know that they're in on a couple wingers. Rodriguez is a center forward too, and that would shock me if they signed a center forward. I think that was more opportunistic, like, hey, maybe we can get Rodriguez. Like, screw it, we'll figure it out later. In terms of how he'll fit with Copetti, how the system's going to fit. So I'm assuming it's going to be a 10 or a winger. I don't know which one because, again, they're going to bring in multiple players over the next 3 or 4 months and probably multiple DPs. So we'll see. And again, there's still the distant possibility that Karol Swiderski comes back in the summer if Hellas Verona don't get promoted and then don't trigger his purchase option. But we'll see. This Charlotte team, I was just talking about foundations with Portland, like how quickly Dean Smith has gotten this team to be difficult to beat, to be cohesive, to build that togetherness, that bonding, all of that. Like, it's really impressive for somebody who took over his first training session with the team in January, and a team that is clearly at a talent deficiency because they're still going to bring in a couple new DPs. They have a lot of good pieces in the team, but it's going to get better. The team is only going to get better from where it is right now. So the fact that they got 3 points against NYCFC is really impressive. I really like what I'm seeing from this team so far. They go on a bit of a road trip right now, so we'll see kind of how that ages over the next few weeks. But Charlotte FC, I think that they could surprise some folks this year. Again, I really like what I've seen in preseason in this first week. Everything I hear about this Dean Smith hire has been great. So, yeah, vamos on the optimism for Charlotte. All right, that'll do it today. Maybe I'll be back at some point soon with more news. Who knows? That's the nature of the news breaking business. I'm supposed to be off today. I'm going to the freaking DMV after this to get a new license because mine is expiring. I desperately don't want to do that. I just want to stand here and talk about soccer with people like you and call people and be annoying. I don't know. On the horizon, the Football Manager 24 winter update is out. I'm going to do a season sim of the MLS 2024 season. I even did a couple extra transfers that weren't included in the update. We'll see how that goes. I need to figure out how to, the advanced technological ability to put a video of me on top of the screen, whatever. Again, I know everybody else in the world can figure out how to do this, but I need to do it, and I need to do that without breaking my computer. So that'll come at some point, hopefully next week, unless that I break my computer and get mad because I can't figure out basic technology. We'll see. We're keeping you guys on your toes. Cheers.